Okay, hello folks. This is trip number 3, hiking every trail in Olympic National Park. Thought I'd do a quick overnighter, another one. This is going to be leaving from Deer Park Trailhead, going along Hurricane Ridge toward Obstruction Point, but then heading down into the Grand Lake Valley Basin that I think also leads down to Cameron Creek Valley. And so I've done this before. This is the second time doing this route. And I've been to Grand Lake a couple times, and I'll explain on the trip. It's really probably second only to Royal, which you've seen from trip number 1. But Grand and Royal basins are two of the best ones, at least on the north and northeast sides of the park. So highly recommended. This is a great one because the road coming up from Port Angeles to Deer Park is pretty good road. It's pretty narrow and very windy, but very well maintained. It's 8 miles though, so it's a little bit long. But the good news is that you do a lot of the climbing on the road. So where we are now is basically subalpine, near subalpine. It's a car campground called Deer Park Campground. There is no water here though, so if you're coming up to car camp, make sure you bring your own water. There's not a water source, but it's actually really nice meadows here. I'll show, if I have time tomorrow on the way out, I'll drive around the car campground and show you the space. It's very, very nice. So if you want like a out of the way semi-wilderness car campground, Deer Park is a great place to come. It's inside the park. And so yeah, and this is also the trailhead to take the Hurricane Ridge Trail. So yeah, so we're gonna start from here, and we've already climbed quite a bit. So I think it's about an 11.5 mile trip today. So I'm getting a late start. It's almost 2. So it's going to be a long day. The last couple trips have been shorter. But I think I'll still be able to do it. It's just turned September, so there's still some daylight, but it is starting to get darker earlier. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'll be okay getting there. But it's, I think, only a 4,000 foot gain over that time. And there's the section going down to Grand Lake is all downhill. So, so I think we'll be okay. I'm actually going to camp at Gladys Lake, which I've gone by a couple times to go up Grand Pass, which I'll show you when I get there. But I've never camped at Gladys Lake, so I'm excited about that. It's the highest lake in that area, up in the sort of subalpine, alpine area. So yeah, let's get going. So I wanted to show you up here. This is there's the parking right there. That is to the car campground up there. There's also a road that leads up to a peak that you can drive to. But as you can see, we're already high elevation. I haven't even left the trailhead. I think those are the needles over there, which we saw from Royal Basin on the other side. So that's pretty cool that we're seeing it from this side. I'll zoom in a little bit. But yeah, so you can see a bunch of different peaks up here, and that's the way we're going. But one of the cool things about Deer Park, it doesn't look like anybody's there, but there's an actual ranger station here. And last time I was here, there was a volunteer ranger here, which is just like a retired person who volunteers at the park. And it doesn't look like anyone's here right now. Yeah, it's locked up. But inside it was a legit ranger station. I don't know if people stay here, but because of the car camping, I think it's probably handy to have have a station here, table and everything going on here. So yeah, pretty nice. Even a little topo. It's pretty dry right now, so I know that there's a fire ban. There is a motorcycle. So anyway, thought that I'd show that off, which is kind of a rare thing up here and kind of nice. Here's the actual trailhead. There's actually a little outhouse up there too, which is nice. This is basically the start of the trail here. Apparently there are some cougar sightings. So that's fun. And yeah, we'll see you on the trail. Air quality, I forgot to mention too, is actually moderate right now. So I think there's a fire someplace. At least the smoke is blowing here. So it's a little bit murky. And it's starting to cool off now that it's September. But it is kind of high 70s. Maybe mid to high 70s. Maybe up to 80 later on. So yeah, just to give you a sense of the weather. But as you can see, it's a little bit smoky. But yeah, we'll be going down and then back up over that direction. I think that is one of the, I think it's a kind of grouse, sort of like a chicken, a wild alpine chicken. I think it's a grouse. I'll look it up and put it in text. But I see them from time to time on the trail. If you can see it there. It's checking me out. I think I disturbed its nap. They're pretty cool. They're very beautiful. But they, yeah, they're a fowl of some kind. You see the bunny? I don't see that very often on the trail. It's very quiet up here and there's really nobody around. It's a pretty big bunny. Good luck, bunny. So, to speak about where I am now, so on this trail, it's actually, again, some tree coverage, but it's moved into a pine and fir forest up in this really dry ridge, part of the beginning of Hurricane Ridge, versus a lot of the other places in the park are either rainforests or cedar or spruce or some, a lot less dry tree and climate. One of the things I think is so amazing about this park is its diversity in climate. I feel like on this trail here, I'm in parts of the Cascades, even Eastern Cascades, or even the Sierras, it feels like at times. Much drier parks. And of course it's late season, so it's way drier, which makes sense. So, but I don't know this to be a fact, but I suspect that the northeast part of Olympic is probably the driest part of the whole park, which is where I am now. And this section is probably a combination of things. Partially it's near the Olympic Peninsula's rain shadow, which is near the town of Sequim. So it's not as much rain. The higher altitude of this ridge, they call it Hurricane Ridge because it can be really windy. So you have a lot of wind drying things out. And once the snow melts, there's almost no water up here at all. So until you get to one of the lakes, you're packing your water as well. So combination of things, but it's just weird how I feel like I'm hiking in the Sierras right now compared to the last two trips, which, are only about 40, 50 miles away. And I was going through some pretty mossy, very wet areas, but nothing compared to the west side where the real rainforests are. And then you just come out every once in a while to these subalpine meadows. Just, there's more coming. Just coming around the bend, you know, and it's a nice surprise. So you can see Deer Park. See the road there cut into the mountain. That's where we parked. And the campground is up there on that sort of saddle there. And there's a road that goes up to the top of that one hill that you can drive to for a lookout. Maybe the second hill as well to the left. So it gives you an idea where we've come from. The trail does get pretty gravelly and sandy, so definitely recommend trail runners or hiking boots. Regular running shoes or anything else is going to be pretty slippery. You want something with a pretty good lug, as the kids say. That's a shout out to Neil, who taught me what a lug was. Basically those, you know, those things in the bottom of a shoe that give you traction. So yeah, it gets pretty steep and gravelly, especially in late season. But now the real rewards start coming as I came out of the forest, and now you see these ridge top trails, and then you come out and you just see some of the other peaks. That over there looks like the Brothers. I don't think it is. Geographically, I don't think it's the right one, but pretty amazing peaks over there. I'll have to look up what those are. And then I think I was wrong. I think that's Mink Mountain over there. I'll have to look that up later too. I'll go right by that. But you can see the trail kind of meander up there and then cut over to the left. So yeah, this is just the beginning of the views. So one thing that, now that I'm at the top of the ridge, basically, sun hood is out, sun's out, right? No tree coverage, but one thing to remind you of is, and thing that I forget often, is, you know, even though it's nice that the car did the heavy lifting on the front country climb, it means you get out at a higher altitude and you're not as acclimated as if the trailhead was at the bottom and you're slowly acclimating throughout your climb during the day from the bottom of, say, a river valley. So here I got out, it's not that high altitude, but it's also, my body's used to sea level normally, so I wasn't acclimated, and so your oxygen doesn't go as far, plus it's hot, plus there's a little water and it's very dry and windy, so you know, your pace is not going to be what you normally would be, so you got to account for that in your timing. But just remember, if you do have a nice climb with the car, your altitude that you're coming out at is going to be higher, and your body won't be ready for it. So give yourself some time. But as you can see, the getting to the top of the ridge here, I still don't remember what that mountain's called, but you can see the trail is really just so nice up here on the ridge. It is breezier, so it's cooler. Maybe it's messing with the mic, sorry about that. But yeah, this is nice alpine ridge hiking at this point. Pretty far down there though, but pretty cool. Now this is some alpine ridge hiking. Look at this, coming up on this cliffside here. Reminds me of Switzerland a little bit. Still have that great range over there. I still need to look up what that is. I'm kind of turned around as far as my geography goes, and I think Olympus is much further in, so it's not Olympus. But I could be wrong on that. Again, I'll put it in text, but this is a great little, this must be close to maybe the top of the ridge. Let's hope. I won't hike and film, but I wanted to show you this sort of hillside, cliffside. Yikes. Down there, and then there's Deer Park way over there. Yeah, but yeah, that's a drop. But it's a pretty good trail here, I must say. Even though I don't want to film and hike, but I wanted to give you a little bit of the sense of things. Okay, so now we're really over the edge here. And I looked it up. I think that's Mount Deception over there. So on the other side of that is actually Royal Basin. So we were on the other side of that looking up those mountains straight over there. Those. And then over there, I believe, is Mount Cameron beyond that ridge, and Anderson beyond that. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but where we're headed, I believe, you can see a lake right there in the middle of the screen. Just a bit of it. That's Grand Lake, I'm pretty sure. So that's where we're headed. So we have a ways to go. But as you can see, here's Hurricane Ridge, and we're going to be up on top of that ridge in a bit. But you come around a corner here, and even though it's a little murky from the smoke, it's still breathtaking. And we're still on this sort of, you know, ridge side of the ridge. And there's, you know, scree and talus everywhere. But the trail's still pretty maintained and pretty stable, so I'm not too worried. And there's just really no snow left anywhere, almost. So yeah, so you can't even see Mount Olympus from here because it's deeper in the park. I'll go over that another time, but the geology of the mountain range, the Olympic Mountains, is really different and weird compared to a lot of other mountain ranges because it's sort of circular, I believe. But I'll do some research and we'll talk about it another time. But yeah, onward to Grand Basin, way down there. Also, I remember this section from the first time I did it because it's really, this coming up section is just my favorite because you really go along Hurricane Ridge this whole way. And I think that's Obstruction Point or Mountain, both over there. And that leads to Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center, which is the main visitor center for the park and the busiest one. Yeah, so this section coming up is really good. Ooh boy, definitely on some ridges now. Some cliffs down there, but look where we are, man. Wow. I don't know if you can see over there the trail on the top of that ridge. I'm not sure that's the way we're going, but you can see a trail there. And then you can see the lake a little better now too. Looks far away, but we'll get there. I think the sun sets about 8 o'clock today, and it's 4 now, so we should have plenty of time, but we probably will be arriving around time for dark. Ooh, look where we are, folks. Top of the world. It's amazing up here. It's one of the great ridges in the park, along with the High Divide, I would say, is another good one. We'll do that one someday. But yeah, this is a great spot. It's interesting, the lighting. It's the 4 o'clock sun, but also the smoke kind of gives it this spooky, you still have the lighting from the sun, but it's kind of gloomy. It's very weird and kind of eerie. So I think we can see the trail over there. See on the other side. So now we can finally see on this side. I believe that's Mount Angelus over there. And there's another hike that we'll be going on. I'll get to the base of that saddle over there to the left of the mountain in the future. That's a really good hike as well. One of the other good ridges. I'm blanking on the name, but it's near the visitor center, sort of north of that. But we take one down from up from the lake, and then there's the rest of Hurricane Ridge over that direction, and then the trail continues here, and then you can see Deception over there, I think. Yeah, so yeah, when we get to Gladys, I'll show you Grand Pass, which I've gone over twice, and it's a pretty cool section as well, and we will be going over that on this series at some point in the future. Now we got to get over that ridge right there. Oh boy, look at this. A little bit of a turnaround there. That's a bit of a rough spot. Looks stable enough, but as you're coming around the bend and you see that, and you're a little bit like, woof, I gotta go on that trail. I'm thinking that trail that's up there is just to the peak, so I think the ridge winds around to the left, and I'm not gonna need to go up there. I hope. I could be wrong on that, but we'll see. Although it would be a nice trip to get up there. I don't mind the hike. I'm beating the clock a little bit today, so as it is getting darker sooner, so I'm not really taking any side excursions, if you will. And then here you can see Deer Park way over there on the right side there. Again, maybe someday I will have a GoPro so I can film and do these little precarious spots, but even though that's a tiny section, I highly recommend that you have poles and shoes with good traction. I can't say enough good things about these speed goats, these Hokas, though this is not a sponsorship. They've got good traction and support and stability and cushion. But without poles, just coming down that ridge, because you know, if you have a false step, you're going down there. So yeah, be aware. And it's very gravelly. Okay, so we're to Roaring Winds primitive campground. It looks like 6,000 feet. Deer Park is obviously that way. And I was curious about this camp. As you can see, there's like a camp spot right over there. And originally, this was actually where I wanted to come camp. But they don't even give you permits for this, or it was full. But obviously it's not full, and I can see, I didn't think it was gonna be. I have a feeling, even though it's an option for permits, they actually turned the permits off for that because there's no water here. It's up here it can be very windy. I don't know. There's probably a reason they don't want people camping here. So you could probably still do it unofficially if you wanted to, but I couldn't get a permit for it anyway. That's why I'm going to Gladys. But I was curious about it because I walked right by it the first time I came on this trail, so I didn't even see the campground. So I'm kind of going to look around and see what it's got in store. So there's a little camp spot there. Barely enough room for a tent, and a trail, probably where people go over there to, you know, take care of business. And here's maybe another little spot, and there's some across the way there. But yeah, it's not much of a campground. And there's a trail over there, could be a social trail, that maybe leads up to the top of that mountain, which I don't know if that's obstruction or what that is. Observation, I'm always forgetting. I'll put it in text. Maybe this is commonly a camp for people who are peak bagging or climbers. That's why it's here, and a good base camp kind of for this area. Could be. Maybe there's some climbing cliffs around. So yeah, I don't know. Speaking of peak bagging, as you've noticed probably so far, I don't actually do a lot of it, intentionally so. It's not a great idea to do, as they say, as the kids say, bag peaks by yourself, because most of them are off trail and easy to fall. Shout out to Andrew, who is a friend of mine who does a lot of peak bagging, probably hundreds or maybe even over 1,000 peaks he's done with some friends. And he actually maintains the Peak Bagger app for the guy that started it, the website. So he's actually very active in the community. So he does a lot of that, and I'm envious of it, but I do so many solo trips. And I go by a lot of peaks that I could actually probably get to, but I'm always nervous on my own, as you saw from last couple videos. So if people were wondering why I don't take these side excursions up to the top of these peaks, it's mainly for safety. So it looks like we're going to start climbing a little bit again, but another one of these ridge side trails, steep on one side. Again, a lot of trails like this in Switzerland, as I recall. We have been lucky enough to do some hiking and hut hiking in the Swiss Alps, but a lot less people here. So coming around the bend, you can see the lake. Much better view of the lake there. That's Grand Lake. Not sure where it goes down yet. Probably a couple more ridges. I can't remember how long you're in the valley for. That's the biggest lake, and then beyond that is Moose Lake and Gladys Lake. So I have a ways to go. The sun's still up. I'd like to get off the ridge before the sun goes below the mountains though. I'm okay being in the valley as it gets dark, but I don't want to be up here, so let's keep going. Actually, now you can see the second lake. It's right there in the center of the screen, which I think is Moose. So it's a pretty cool view. But due to the topography, that trail that is along that ridge side is something you have to go up. It's the only way, because there's just too many cliffs this way. So I am going up that to the side. I assume that's probably the highest I'm going to need to go though. The last section, which I'll have to go through tomorrow on this side of the ridge, it's not for the faint of heart, I will say. The trail is a little precarious, so we'll see tomorrow going back down it. Never forget to take breaks. I'm about to go up that ridge line there, and I was feeling it. So I needed to get some energy, take a snack, take a break, drink some water. So I feel rejuvenated. Let's do this. Well, we can see where we came from. You can see the trail there, which is quite a journey up that trail. Still have to go up there, but nice view this way. Mount Angeles, You'd normally be able to see Victoria that way, but yeah, too smoky. And I can't go over there, but I don't know if you can see it, but there's a flower, remaining purple flower, still going over there. And the sun will be setting behind the mountain in a second, so that might be helpful. Probably can hear the wind too, it's a little bit windy. Sorry about that on the mic. Whew, made it to the top of that thing behind me. It is a lot sketchier than I remember it, but totally worth it. Hard work. Remember, for stuff like this, pretty precarious, like one side of the trail is, you know, pretty straight down. Make sure you have the good strength and confidence and you're not too fatigued. I'm in pretty good shape, but, you know, still a little bit behind where I should be. And it was fine to do, but, you know, I recommend this trail to people because it's amazing. Now that I'm up here on the ridge proper, but it really isn't for the faint of heart. So, you know, make sure that you've done your training and you're ready for it, because you don't want to trip or lose your footing or anything. And tomorrow, going back down will be, you know, just as important to make sure every footfall counts and make sure you have poles. But also, look at this view. Look at that ridge over there. You can see a park down there, some water, and then the trail. But look at this, these ranges here. All ones we've seen from different angles. Wow, look at how desolate it is up here. True alpine. No trees. There's that weird haze in the distance. I mean, it's just like the moon up here. But see, as we're coming around, and we'll get a better view later, that is Olympus, I believe, over there. It has a couple different peaks, 3 I think. But the west one, I think, is the tallest. So we will see Olympus in a bit. Badger, if you can see that, Badger Valley, Grand Valley, that's where we're going. And Obstruction Point in Deer Creek, or Park rather. And so we're heading down now, that ridge into the forest and up the creek to Grand. You can see the lake pretty well now over there. But more importantly, I think this is your first glimpse on this series, your first glimpse of Mount Olympus. So this is as close as we're going to get this trip. High Divide will be the place to get the great views when we do that eventually. But this is an interesting one because of the layers, because of the smoke. You can see each ridge really like, almost like it's two-dimensional, parallaxing, super neat. And then Olympus in the background there, if you can see it. Let me zoom in some more. Yeah. So we'll see that multiple times in the future. But the first time on this trip, And that trail there goes to Obstruction Point and the trailhead there, and the dirt road that leads to Hurricane Ridge Visitor Center. And we will also be seeing that in the future. So yeah, that trail will be one we will step on later. For now, let's head down to the lake. Oh, and I didn't even show you this side. Disappointment Peak? No, I forget now. But that is on the other side of that is Royal Basin, which you know, and that's Cameron over there. Someday we will be going to Cameron Park and over Cameron Pass, hopefully on the 5x5 custom trail that I designed, the loop. But yeah, I wanted to show you the other direction too. Now down to the lake. Speaking of Obstruction Point, you can see actually the sun is shining on the windshields of the cars parked at the trailhead there. That is the dirt road that leads back to the visitor center. So you'll see the dirt road actually when I do the full 5x5 loop, because you actually have to hike on that to get to that trailhead from the visitor center. But I just wanted to show you where. We're not going there today, but that's how far away the opposite trailhead for Hurricane Ridge is. So we're going down to Badger Valley now. I don't remember what that looks like. A valley before Grand Valley. Look at how crazy this is. It's like we're on Mars. It's just all this rock. Super fascinating. So getting to Badger has some pretty rough spots like this too. I mean, this is fine, but I'm wondering if maybe tomorrow morning I take the other route that goes toward Obstruction. It'll check off that part of the route and it'll be longer, but that trail I think is better than this trail as far as getting back up on the ridge. So I'm gonna check the map out and see what I think about that tomorrow. Hear that? Our first water. Thank goodness. I'm almost out. Planned it perfectly. We're kind of in the subalpine marmot country right now, but I haven't seen any marmots. I've seen a lot of marmot holes, dens, so it's starting to cool off, which is nice. Very nice. I'm amazed this is here. Wonder what the source is. Going all the way down to the valley. Let's camel up. See a little froggy right there? Super nice meadow here. This must be Badger Valley, basically. I don't know if that's a marmot on the trail down there. See him? Right in the center of the screen. It's probably frozen because I'm here. But we'll see him move later. But yeah, very nice meadow. I hear more water. And then we got to go around the bend and head back up to the lake. So let's get going. So they're still there. Hey, buddy. You see how the back is a different color? The marmots in Olympic, I think, are a unique species of marmot. I think called the Olympic marmot. So I could be wrong on that. While the hoary marmot is the one that you're seeing a lot more in Pacific Northwest. I don't want to bother you. I'm just gonna go right on by. Okay? There's dens all over this field. And there's a sign up there. No mileage signs. The marmot came back out. And then look where we came from. Oof. Yeah, that offshoot shortcut is a bit rough. So I think we're gonna take that tomorrow to obstruction, and I'll see how many miles it adds to it, but it does mean that we can see the Splendor and check it off, even though I will be using that trail in the future for the 5x5. But I don't want to go back up Badger. And there's no mileage here, so Grand Valley, here we come. Okay, down in the forest now. From alpine to forest and going deeper. I just heard something in the brush, so I'm kind of stopping to see if I can see it. Could just be a deer or an elk. Could be bear, but there's no chance I'm going to see it if it's a bear. They're already gone. But yeah, we're getting there. It's about 6:30 or so, maybe close to 7, so I should still have time. Once the sun goes down, I still have, you know, some daylight. I'm not sure how far I am yet. I haven't looked at the map, but I think we'll be okay. See you there. In meadows like this, it's very common to see bear. At least it has been for me. They'd be far away, chomping on berries or something. I think it's a little past berry season now, but eating some lettuce. But they probably hear me and they're frozen or hiding. I don't see anything, or at least some deer. Great meadow though. Okay, I think we're at the bottom, ready to go back up. Here's a nice little bridge up that way. I'm gonna check the map to see how close we are. It's like almost 7:30. It's getting a little dark. You can't tell from the camera. I think I have plenty of daylight, but also I'm not afraid of hiking with the headlamp if I need to. But let's check the map and see where we're at, and then make some calls from there. Pushing the daylight in September. I remember this pool from last time. There's a little cascade right there in the bridge. The camera is compensating for the darkness. It's not 8 yet, but wow, this even has some wire. Okay, this turned out to be a rough day. I definitely underestimated the ridge, getting up the ridge, down the ridge. I'm not even to Grand Lake yet, the first lake, but I think I'm pretty close. So I think the sun's gonna set in about 15 minutes, which I'll still have some sunlight after that, daylight. But I might actually stay at Grand tonight if there's room, because I think Gladys is maybe another mile beyond that, so that could take me another hour at this pace. So it's just slow going, and I'm losing light, even though it doesn't look like it. So let's hope that Grand Lake is nearby. Okay, I'm almost to the lake, but I had to take out my headlamp, so we're hiking in the dark-ish. It looks worse than it is on camera, but yeah, I think we're close. I'll see you in a bit. Here's a little bit of headlight hiking for you. Always a little weird, but kind of fun as well. So before I trip and fall, I will see you there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the lake down there. You can see a little bit of the glare. So we made it. Let's see if we can find a spot. Well, Grand Lake, everybody, at night. This is as far as we're going, obviously. I kind of remember where the sites are, so I've only seen 1 or 2 tents. So I'm gonna check out over there, but there's a spot right there that I might take. I'm just gonna flop down and hit the hay. This is too close to the water, but yeah, we'll get to see it in the morning. This is fun. Double logs. Okay, this is where we ended up. The lake is right there. You can see it, sort of. Yeah. And this is apparently Camp 4. It's a little bit close to the Privy, which is right back there. But I can't smell it too badly. But I'm too tired. This is time for bed. But this is actually pretty flat. Pretty good spot, I think. This isn't bad too. But I'm just going to bed, so looks okay. I think we'll just, yeah, let's do this. Who have we here? Trying to figure me out. Hi. Move along. Well, situated. I skipped camp setup because basically I just crashed. It's too dark to really do much, and I am too tired. So I got my bag there. I'm in my quilts, shoes, stuff. Let me turn it around. Okay, well, we made it to Grand Lake. We did not make it to Gladys. There's, I would say, half a dozen or so open campsites. Maybe 5. So, yep, once again, my permit is not exactly for where I am, but Gladys is right up the way. I think I saw 2 or 3 groups here at Grand. But yeah, I definitely miscalculated. I was still on summer hours, I think, so I lost at least maybe an hour and a half or so from the sunlight that I'm used to in the summer. Maybe 2 hours, and then I probably lost another hour with my conditioning was not ready for Hurricane Ridge, the climb. So that took me probably an extra hour, longer than I thought it was going to take. So all told, I got here right about sunset, or actually twilight. It's probably 9 or so right now, 9:30. Time to go to bed. Very, very tired and fatigued, and yeah, that was a barnstorm of a day. So we'll have to figure out what to do tomorrow, what route we're going to take. But yeah, I will show you the lake tomorrow. It's a beautiful spot. This is the 3rd time I've been here. I like Grand Valley quite a bit. And yeah, talk to you in the morning. Bye.